My Tumblr account got deleted, so that tells me that we're getting close to the truth. If talking about the correlation between 5G and COVID and how the testing is extremely flawed, and basically everything we've been posting about. One thing. It's one thing to put these false information, but to terminate your account completely, you got to be doing something really. But so people are asking, well, what about Iran? They don't have 5G yet, and they have cases. You got to keep in mind, 80 to 83% of these false positives they're false positives. Okay, so the testing is completely flawed and inaccurate. Have you seen these tests? They stick something way up your nose. It's like from Total Recall when they put that bug in and he's getting that bug out of his nose. Like this is like stuff out of like science fiction. This is, and so now they're gonna start normalizing the testing, normalizing the total surveillance of people who have come into contact, and all these stupid buzzwords like contact tracing. Don't use these buzzwords. These are buzzwords that will further our enslavement. Okay, reject the buzzwords like James Corbett said, and create your new buzzwords that mock those buzzwords. Okay, I agree with Corbett completely. All right, so my Tumblr account got deleted. It was mainly information from my Instagram accounts that I would share to the Tumblr. So that tells me that my Instagram account could get taken down as well. And if you notice, most of my posts lately have been all about coronavirus. And my intuition is telling me you need to back off on this a little bit, because you're going to get your account taken down. And that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I want to be able to have a platform to reach people. And if I don't have that platform, then I can't reach as many people, and we can't share truth and knowledge. And I also have a business that I rely on to support my family. So I'm going to back off on the COVID stuff. I'm hoping that people get it, and if people don't get it, that's fine. I'll continue to post little tidbits to kind of get their seeds planted in their consciousness, but they're going to have to do the work. And I'm going to focus on what is really closest to my heart, which is animal activism. And let me tell you a story about what happened to me a few days ago. So I was driving to the store. We were making vegan burgers on Sunday night. And we didn't have any burgers, we didn't have any tomatoes, we didn't have any lettuce. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna run over to Oliver's, this local store, who's got a good produce section. And so I'm driving over there. I'm in a stoplight, and I hear someone yelling behind me, and I look in my rear view and I see someone yelling out the window at me, obviously yelling at me. And they're saying, we're actually going to the store right now to get a steak. And I was like, okay. So these guys are mocking me because I have a bumper sticker that says, go vegan for your health, for the animals, for the environment. I also have chemtrail stuff on there, etc. But so these guys were making fun of me, and I was like, whatever. And I noticed that they were going to the store where I was going. So they were definitely going to get a steak. So when they parked, I parked first, and I noticed where they parked. So I walked over to them. I said, excuse me, were you talking to me back there? I thought I heard you guys yell something out the window. And they look at me like, and I said, oh, because I could have heard someone said, we're going to the store to get a steak. That wasn't you? And they're like, nah, boss, that wasn't us. So it totally was them. And they didn't have the balls to admit it. So I was a little fired up because, it's a little disrespectful. If you're going to yell something at someone, and you can't even admit it, back it up, I said, okay. And so, don't talk shit to someone. Don't disrespect them. You might get hit with like, some dude who's like really tough and mean. That's not me. I'm a pacifist. But if you see someone with a vegan bumper sticker, it doesn't mean they're a 110-pound weakling, and maybe they, know martial arts and stuff, and maybe they'll just kick your ass. That's not me. I'll defend myself, but I'm not a fighter. But the Diaz, the brother, the UFC fighter Diaz, he's a vegan, I believe. He might eat some fish once in a while. I don't know. But there's a lot of really tough, strong vegans out there. And so just be careful, Carnists. If you're going to talk shit to vegans, just be careful. Just be careful. And so going back to that's the store. I go into the store, and there I notice they go right to the meat section. And then I see them in the vegetable section where I'm at. And I stare at them again, and they kind of like, they're just completely, they thought, whatever. But in the store, when I'm walking into the store, I didn't have my mask on, right? Because it's my body, my choice, and there's nothing in the Constitution that says I have to wear a mask, right? So I was going to push it as far as I could go. So I walk into the store without a mask, and immediately the lady runs after me. "Excuse me, sir, you have to have a mask on to be in our store." I said, okay, hold on. I haven't even grabbed a cart yet. And so we got this mask from a local, this girl who makes these masks. We met her at a concert. She's really nice. And so we supported her local business. And we bought those masks just for like when I have to go into a store and someone tells me, like, I'm not going to do it voluntarily. I'm not going to wear a mask voluntarily. I'm not going to call these people sheep because they're just trying to protect themselves. But if you want to talk about protecting yourselves, the flu is more dangerous. The flu is more dangerous. And tuberculosis, 15 million people get tuberculosis every year, and 1.5 million die from it. That's a 15% infection rate. Death rate. That's a 15% death rate. With COVID, we're looking at 0.1 to 0.2. If you look at this USC and Stanford studies that just came out, okay? And people are wearing masks when they're walking out in public, and we can't go to the beach right now because it's not essential. And this is a 0.1 to 0.2 death rate, which is less deadly than the flu. I mean, the flu kills, 60 to 80,000 people in just the States, 600 to 900,000 worldwide, something like that. And you can't say, well, this COVID is just, we don't know what it's at. Yeah, well, yeah, we don't know that most of the positive cases are completely not positive because they're 83% false positives. The whole thing is flawed. The whole thing is flawed, and it'll make you go insane the more you keep dealing with it. So I'd rather not deal with it. But just keep that in mind. If we're talking about shutting down everything and we're scared to be in public and wearing masks, just think about tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is more contagious, very contagious, okay? And it spreads via droplets, okay? And it kills 1.5 million people a year. 15%, I'll say it, 15% death rate. Why aren't people scared to death of that? Because they're just scared to death of what they're told to be scared to death of. Because people are, unfortunately, sheep who watch the news and allow themselves to be programmed and mind controlled, and they can't break free, and they can't critically think. They can't use their critically thinking brain that God gave them to decipher information and say something's off with this. And I think personally it's because they're eating the wrong foods, they're not exercising, they like, some people almost like to live in a state of fear because it gives them an identity and it helps them be the victim. So anything bad that comes along in life, well, it's just this, it's all this, they can blame it on it, and they don't have to take responsibility for anything because everything is just hitting them so hard, right? I have people in my family who are like this, so I know, and so this whole thing is like people almost want there to be a crisis. People want there to be a crisis because it gives them something to identify with, which allows them to take on this victim consciousness. But I was talking with Sarah. I was saying the reason why people just cannot can't critically think, they can't use their brain, is because they're eating the wrong foods. They're loaded with mucus and acidity, and they're clogged up. They're calcified. They're calcified. Okay, if you're not drinking clean water, if you're not eating the right foods, if you're not eating fruits and vegetables and beans and nuts and seeds, and if you're not getting sun, and you're not exercising, and you're not turning off the TV, if you're not doing all the things that really allow you to be healthy and strong, you are going to be calcified. Your ability to take in information is going to be hindered. And I think it goes back to what you put in your body personally and what you're surrounded by. If you're surrounded by a bunch of Wi-Fi and you're eating a bunch of mucus-forming, dead animals and secretions and processed food and GMOs and all that, you are the channel to your intuition, and your ability to discern and critically think will be impaired. So you will be more susceptible to these psyops, these agendas, and you'll be labeled a sheep. So if you don't want to be a sheep, it starts with what I've been talking about for the past however long I've had my account. It starts with what you put in your body. Because what you're putting in your mind, is the same thing as the food. Like if you're allowing this fear and stuff to go into your body, then you might as well just put stuff that creates acidity into your body as well. Fear creates acidity in the body, and so does the bad foods. So I'm gonna kind of back off from the COVID stuff. It's downright depressing. What I saw in that store absolutely depressed me. I saw people spaced out from each other, everyone wearing a mask. It's totally normalized. This is what we do. And it absolutely disgusted me and depressed me. And then you get people mocking you. And then, if people are so concerned with their health and not getting some virus, which is really a diseased cell, then why are they eating all, you see people loading up their cart with all these processed foods and meat and stuff like that. But wait, you're so concerned with your health, right? And catching some virus that has a 0.1 to 0.2 death rate, but you're going to eat all these toxic foods that are going to create have an acidic reaction in your body, and inflammation and mucus, and artery plaque. But you're going to tell me you're a pillar of health and you're really concerned with health? Okay. Makes no sense to me. So I, people can think what they want. People can think that this is a real pandemic and they really did release a virus, even though a virus is a disease cell or an exosome and manifestation of a disease cell. You can really get all in this fearful panic mode and believe the news and start using all their normalized buzz terms and wear a mask everywhere and allow yourself to be a programmed sheep. Or you can just put good shit in your body. Turn off the news and get out and get some sun and educate people on what's really happening. But I'm going to back off on this COVID stuff. I honestly don't want my account to get taken down. I like having a platform where I can communicate with people and share information and allow ourselves to get into a healthier place, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. And, that'll always be for me, the priority for me will always be about equality and justice. Equality and justice. What's one of the big tenets with me being a vegan is if we, there's truthers out here, Brian Young at High Impact Vlogs, Fullerton Informer, even James Corbett, he did a post on veganism a while back, and he eats meat. All these guys eat meat. Eating meat is incredibly normalized in our culture. Name the Oregon artists who said that veganism is a mental illness. See if you can do that. But so it's this whole normalized culture where we're enslaving, exploiting, crushing the souls of innocent animals. But we're asking for that not to happen to us. Like we're just immune from that. We're so worthy that we don't deserve the treatment, but we do it to others. So we got to end speciesism, and it's all about justice and peace.